Hold on to your hats, folks, because the Trump train just plowed through another guardrail of democracy. In a move that sent shockwaves through Washington, former President Donald Trump fired at least a dozen inspectors general. These are the folks tasked with keeping an eye on government agencies and rooting out waste, fraud, and general naughtiness. Imagine them as the hall monitors of the federal government, only with way more power and significantly less acne. Now, firing IGs isn't unheard of. Presidents have done it before. But Trump's Friday night massacre, which targeted at least 12 and possibly as many as 17 IGs, has everyone from seasoned senators to your Nan's book club buzzing. This wasn't just a light dusting, it was a full-blown bureaucratic beatdown. And as with all things Trump, it's left a lot of people scratching their heads and reaching for their pocket constitutions. The timing of the firings just days after Trump's return to the White House has only added fuel to the fire. Critics are calling it a blatant attempt to consolidate power and shield his administration from scrutiny. Trump naturally has a different take, arguing it's all part of his plan to drain the swamp. But as anyone who's ever actually encountered a swamp can tell you, draining it usually just makes the remaining creatures angrier and smellier. Picture this. You're an inspector general, comfortably settled into your government-issued office chair, probably wearing a sensible cardigan and sipping lukewarm coffee. Suddenly, an email pops up. It's from the White House. You open it, your pulse quickening, only to find out you're fired. That's right, folks. No pink slips, no awkward hallway encounters, just a cold, impersonal email from Sergio Gore, the director of the White House Presidential Personnel Office. The message: your services are no longer needed, effective immediately, due to changing priorities. Now, you might be thinking, that's a pretty callous way to fire someone, and you'd be right. But the real kicker is that these emails may not even be legal. See, in 2022, Congress passed a law requiring the president to give them a 30-day heads up before giving an IG the boot. And they want more than just a heads up, they want a detailed explanation as to why this person has to go. So, not only were the firings abrupt and impersonal, they might have also been about as legal as a $3 bill, which, as you can imagine, has a lot of people pretty riled up. Now, let's delve into the legal quagmire that Trump's Inspector General purge has created. At the heart of this controversy lies the 2022 amendment to the Inspector General law. This amendment, passed with bipartisan support, explicitly mandates a 30-day notice to Congress before an IG can be removed. And it's not just about giving Congress a heads up. The law demands a detailed explanation for the dismissal. This was put in place to prevent exactly what appears to be happening: a president purging watchdogs for political convenience. Trump's defenders argue that the changing priorities justification, however flimsy it may seem, fulfills the requirement. They claim that the president has broad authority over personnel decisions, and the 2022 amendment doesn't explicitly restrict his ability to fire IGs. However, legal experts are crying foul. They argue that the vague changing priorities rationale simply doesn't cut it, especially given the scale and timing of the firings. The lack of detailed reasoning, coupled with the abrupt email notification, suggests a deliberate attempt to circumvent the law. This blatant disregard for congressional oversight has sparked outrage from both sides of the aisle, setting the stage for a legal showdown that could have far-reaching consequences. Unsurprisingly, the reaction to Trump's IG massacre has been about as unified as a room full of toddlers arguing over a broken cookie. Democrats are, to put it mildly, fuming. They're calling the firings a chilling purge and an attack on democracy, and those are some of the more printable reactions. Republicans, on the other hand, are doing their best impression of a middle school dance floor, awkwardly shuffling around, trying to avoid eye contact with the Democrats, and hoping no one asks them to pick a side. Some, like Senator Tommy Tuberville, are all for it, praising Trump for cleaning house. Others, like Senators Chuck Grassley and Susan Collins, are a bit more apprehensive. They're not necessarily condemning the firings outright, but they're definitely raising an eyebrow and asking for some clarification. This internal GOP squabble highlights the difficult position Trump has put his own party in. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place: support Trump and risk alienating moderate voters, or criticize him and face the wrath of his loyal base.